Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Chandana, and in today's topic, I'm going to be talking about the sun, and in particular, the iconography of, many of you would have seen Surya Dev riding on a chariot with seven horses. Okay, so ideally, this is what I'm going to be delving into. So, first of all, let us understand what is the sun. Okay, so or rather, if you want to know whether your sun is weak or strong, and then we get into it. Okay, so ideally, first let me address the problem, and that may bring in your curiosity on understanding what the sun really is. So if you have a weak sun, what all is likely to happen in your life? First and foremost, you will feel that there is a lack of independence in your life. You're not able to stand on your own legs. You're not able to earn well on your own. Somehow, you're financially always, or even emotionally, always dependent on somebody, right? Especially financially. And a lot of women nowadays are financially dependent on their fathers, on their husbands. So this is something that you need to understand. If you always in a situation where you have to depend too much on somebody, please understand that there is a difference between being completely dependent on someone and being in a place of authority and then delegating your work to other people. Okay, so that is not dependency. So that is the second point. If you feel that your voice is not being heard, nobody is listening to you, or you are always you are not favored by people in authority or authorities themselves. These could be government authorities, or this could be your boss, your manager, maybe a family member in the house. It could be your grandfather or your uncle or your father or mother. Whoever is the main, whoever has the last word in your house is the person of authority. Or you feel like, every time whenever you do some work, you put in all the effort, but you don't get the main attention. It's like you did all the work of Batman, but you ended up as Robin. Or you always feel that you put in so much effort, but somehow you always get second place. Or somehow you reach up to 98 or 99% and you're not able to get it up to 100%. Then this also means that you have a weak sun. Okay, so if you are not getting recognition at the very bare minimum, okay, or recognition but like a sidekick, then that means your sun is weak. Now, the degree to which your sun is weak and strong, this will happen. If your sun is absolutely weak, you will have no recognition at all, although you did all the work. And if your sun is very strong, then you will have name and fame like a celebrity. Okay, so that is something for you to assess whether how strong or how weak your sun is. The other thing of a weak sun is that you constantly self-doubt yourself. You lack a sense of awareness, self-awareness. It's like everybody can see that how good you are at something and what you're doing, but you keep thinking that no, I don't think I'm really good, or I don't think I deserve this. So when you start having all these kind of emotions also, it means that you have a weak sun. So if you are somebody who's trying to get your finances set straight, whether it is getting a promotion, whether it is having your own source of income, whether it is even finding a job, the sun is the planet that you have to start addressing and start packing the power into. And how do you pack the power into it? I'll get to that in a little bit in the video ahead. Okay, so the other thing where you understand where the sun is weak, so sometimes what happens is people have a strong sun, but because of their habits, okay, or rather I should say atomic habits, you debilitate the power, you decrease the power of your sun. Okay, so this happens if you're not reaching on time anywhere, if you're not punctual and disciplined, then you are ruining a very good sun that is in your chart. But when in expression, because of your habits, you are disturbing that vibration which is already very good, and you are reducing its power. So this is also this also makes sense, which is why we do remedies, right? Because if just however the state of the planet is was coming through in our life, if we did a remedy, then that would not correct the planet. So it works both ways. It is on what you do also and what is there in your chart. Okay, so if you are doing things that are going to weaken your sun, like if you don't know how to say no or set boundaries, or you are not doing anything to be dependent, if you are not self-aware, if you are not punctual and disciplined, although your sun is very good, but then this will start creating a problem. Now the other thing is, if you have a weak sun, you may have an absolutely inflated ego. That's one way of looking at it. Or the other thing is, you may find that people around you are always having ego clashes with you. This could be your colleagues, this could be somebody higher up than you, somebody lower than you. For some or the other reason, you will find that you have a lot of ego clashes with people. So that also means that this is a weak sun, or the power is not there, or it is not balanced in a more positive light. Okay, so these are all the aspects to understand if you have a weak sun. Coming to the physical aspect of it, you will have a lot of problems with your eyes or with your skin, okay, and with your bones also. So if you always have skin issues, rashes, acne, if you constantly have problems with your eyes, I'm not talking about only wearing glasses, but some kind of itching, irritation, always getting conjunctivitis, always getting some sty or some kind of a cyst in your eye or something like that, then you need to understand that your sun is weak, right? Now that I've addressed all the problems that a sun can cause, and it's not just your sun in your chart doesn't always, partly it does represent all the male authorities and figures in your life, your father, your bosses, your all of that. But the sun, in a more esoteric meaning, is your soul, is your consciousness, okay? And it is the consciousness only which takes you through life and death, life and death, life and death. Okay, so this whole cycle of birth and rebirth is your soul is taking you through it. So ideally you need to understand that the sun is who you are in essence, and who you will be across lifetimes, irrespective of gender, body, name, and all these things, right? It is the essence of your soul. So now if you see, why do they say in sadhana, at least where after you finish a Ganpati sadhana, why do they encourage you to take up a Gayatri sadhana? Now Gayatri Devi is actually the Shakti of the sun, okay, and that is responsible for you to bring illumination. That is what brings you enlightenment, and only when you have enlightenment can you navigate this entire board of karma, which is like snakes and ladders, and reach your end goal, which is moksha or higher evolution of your consciousness, right? So the sun is your soul and your soul consciousness. Now coming to the iconography of that, he is on a chariot which has 7 horses and is being controlled by his charioteer. So these 7 horses is actually where all the meaning and the understanding lies, because once you identify that the sun is the soul, okay, and the sun is your consciousness, now you need to understand how many things the soul and the consciousness is governing. Okay, so these 7 horses, they represent 7 days, or in a more mundane sense, the 7 days of the week, the 7 colors of the rainbow. Okay, on a physical level, they represent the 7 essential dhatus, okay, that make up the human body, which is blood, fat, bone, marrow, semen, and what else did I miss out? 1 minute. Yeah, skin, okay, and flesh. So the sun is responsible, you see, for your overall physical health, and this is why they say that you hear the saying, as healthy as a horse. Why don't they say as healthy as a cheetah or a elephant or a lion or something? Okay, it is because of this connotation. Okay, and ashwa means horse in Sanskrit, but ashwa also means sun rays. So the rays of the sun. So there are 7 primary rays of the sun. So when you start praying to the sun, and when you start honoring the sun and addressing the sun, okay, your automatically your health and healing and everything starts, because it is controlling all these dhatus of your body, the 7 that I mentioned, right? Now, so one is that it will majorly tackle any physical issues you have with your body. That means it takes care of your health. Now, the second thing is that these 7 horses represent 7 rays of the sun, okay, and these 7 rays are giving light or reaching all the other planets in our solar system also. So from an astrological point of view, if you start energizing and balancing the energy of your sun, it will indirectly start balancing the energy of all the other planets also in your chart, which is Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn. Yeah. So it will take care of all of these other planets, because it is the primary source, it is the primary luminary that is giving energy to all these other planets, right? So even if you look at our solar system, no solar system has 2 suns. Every solar system has 1 sun, and if you see, all your planets are revolving around the sun, which is actually a complete mandala in itself, right? So when you control this, it is like the life force energy. If you have enough energy, that energy will have enough, will be able to supply enough power to all your other planets also. So say for example, if a certain planet is weak in your chart, it's probably weak because it doesn't have enough energy to do what it needs to do, right? So the minute you start addressing the issue of the sun, you will notice slowly that everywhere else also you are getting energy. Your moon is getting corrected, your Mars is getting corrected, your Venus is getting corrected, right? So from an astrological point of view, this becomes very important. Now, from a spiritual point of view, the 7 horses govern your 7 chakras, right? And the sun is you, your soul. So you have to go from the Mooladhara to the Sahasrahara, transcending each of these chakras. And a lot of people don't know that. Yes, of course, a lot of people know that there are meridians that pass through these chakras. But what they don't know is actually these meridians are all connected to something that is called as your Sanchit Karma. Now your Sanchit Karma is the totality of your good, bad and ugly karma that your soul has accumulated over lifetimes, including the current one and probably even in the future, which is known as your Agama Karmas. Also, okay, I'll do another video, a detailed video on karmas, but for now this much information is enough for you. Okay, so what happens is, when you understand what these karmas are because of the illumination, which is a Gayatri sadhana. Okay, you will understand how to navigate through this and how to clear these karmas. And when these karmas get cleared, it is like the Sun Lord charioting his way from the Mooladhara to the Sahasrahara, right? So this is a very important significance that a lot of people don't know, that the 7 horses are also the 7 chakras. Now, they are the 7 chakras that have different kinds of karmas that are accumulated or stored within each of that chakra, and that is why over the duration of your lifetime you have different kinds of circumstances and experiences, and once you've learned those lessons, that karma starts getting cleared away, clearing the path for the kundalini to rise from the base to the top, right? But now, what is creating these karmas? All are indriyas, okay, which you say the 7 sins, okay, which is lust, which is greed, which is attachment, which is ego, which is jealousy, which is laziness. Okay, have I missed something else? One second. Right? So these are the emotions that we always get stuck in, and because of these emotions we do certain actions, right? Because of jealousy we would have unnecessarily hurt someone, because of our ego we would have created somebody's downfall, because of our laziness we haven't put enough effort, so we didn't get the life that we were dreaming of. So these emotions is also something that the consciousness is controlling, that your sun is controlling. So when the sun is strengthened, all of these 7 sins are on a leash now, right? And then you have control over it. Now you can direct energy where you want to go. You're not allowing these emotions or these vices to drive you crazy or drive you up the wall or bind you to this earth realm also. So one aspect is understanding that they are 7 chakras, these 7 horses. The other aspect is understanding the 7 vices they are, which is creating all this karma in each of these chakras, right? So when you take control of your sun, when you take control of your consciousness, when you try to put more power in it, you will be able to navigate and understand, and that is what is illumination, right? That is what is enlightenment. Enlightenment is not some out of body experience or something that you had. Enlightenment is nothing but functioning with such a high level of consciousness and awareness, where you know every action what kind of a karma it is going to bear for you, right? And once you have that understanding, then you control your actions, and then you can start moving, then your kundalini can start moving ahead, because say suppose somebody comes and throws a stone at you, maybe you get that awareness that in a past life you had thrown a stone on his head, so in this life he's thrown. So your reason for taking vengeance or wanting his destruction or something will go away, because you have this enlightenment. Okay, so the sun is enlightenment as well, and the sun does govern your life force energy also. So this is what I have in terms of the iconography, that a lot of people don't know what these 7 horses and the importance of these 7 horses are in that whole iconography. And this is why when you tackle the sun, you are tackling multiple problems on multiple levels, be it spiritual, be it emotional, be it materialistic, be it physical. All of this starts getting tackled. So if you have to ask me, I don't have enough time in the day to pray to every planet or pray to every deity, please make it a point that you can at least do your prayers and offer your obeisance to the Surya Dev. And the most important thing about improving your sun also is the fact that you just start showing up and doing what you need to do without an expectation, right? Just like the sun rises. He's not asking for anything in return, that okay, I'll rise only if you give me 5 crore rupees, or I'll rise only if you do this for me or do that for me, right? So if you do your work with a certain amount of discipline and dedication, then you know that your sun is going to improve. Now, coming to sun remedies, these are there all over YouTube, all over the internet. It's nothing new. You can take up a remedy that is conducive to your lifestyle or something that you are open to doing. So, for example, doing a Surya Namaskar, okay, is also a remedy to cure the sun. If you are going to offer water to the sun, okay, every day in the morning, and please note, all because they are remedies related to the sun, if you want to see an effect, you have to do it at the time when the sun is rising. Please don't do it at 12:30 in the afternoon where the sun is blazing at the top of your head, okay? It's not going to work. You have to connect to the sun when it is in its most sattvic state, it's in its most softest state, okay, and it is in its in the highest vibration that it is, okay? Because if it's at any other time, then that is the imbalance that it's causing you, right? So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whether it's a job, a promotion, your own source of income, good connections with people in authority, being a figure of authority yourself, being very confident in who you are and where you are, being able to, get that kind of recognition in your field, whether it is fixing a digestive issue, whether it is fixing a hormonal issue, right? All of these things are tackled when we start addressing our sun, our soul, our consciousness. Okay, so it could also be mantra chanting that you can take up, but you have to do that, a few thousand times in a certain number of days. So if you're somebody who loves doing sadhana, then you can do this. If you're someone who can do all of it, then do all of it, but at least try to incorporate one or the other form of remedy. And even chanting the Aditya Hridayam or the Ashtakam, also the Surya Ashtakam, is very, very potent, and you will definitely start seeing progress in your life. And you will know, because if this is the one thing that you're doing, then you will know that okay, this is what I'm doing and these are the changes that I can see, right? And then you will start feeling heard, you will start being heard, people will take account of your presence on this planet. You will be able to be independent financially, emotionally, spiritually. Also, you will have a lot of mental clarity in what you're doing. So if you're somebody who's constantly, forgetting things, or getting, oh, should I go left or should I go right? Should I take route A or route B to get to office today? Did I take my house keys or no? If your mind is always scrambling like this, then all that scrambling will also go away, and you will have absolute clarity with 100% surety, that you will be so sure in what you are doing and how you need to do it and where you need to do it. Okay, so if you are someone who's suffering from brain fog or mental fog, please note that this may not only be because of high sugar in your body. This could also be because you have a weak sun, okay? And for everybody, a weak sun will express itself in different ways, okay? It's not necessary that if you have a weak sun, you are going to have all of these weaknesses. You may have 2 or 3, depending on how well or badly placed the sun is in your own chart, okay? And depending on the strength that it has. Suppose you may have a very strongly placed sun, but it can be at a much lower degree, say at a 2 degree or a 0 degree, but an exalted sun, then that's also not going to give you enough fruit that you want, right? So you are going to have to balance it accordingly, and whatever is weak in your chart, accordingly, once you start doing these remedies, it will start improving and giving its effect in your life. But you need to be a little more aware and conscious of it, and observant also, for you to know, because like I said, when you correct the sun, you may see some other planet doing very well, because the fuel is now being sent properly to all of the planets for it to work, right? So it could come in any way, but you need to have that presence of mind and to be able to observe the changes that are coming through. So now, how long should we do this to correct it? See, if you have a weak sun, this is not something that is going to, you do it once and you correct it. This is going to be something lifetime that will happen. Okay, so if you are going to say, okay, I'll just do it for 2 months and then I'll leave, the minute you stop, again the power will start receding. Okay, until you have really packed in enough power where it gets transmitted on a soul level. So in a celestial sense, that sun is now getting energized and is getting more power and energy. And let me tell you this happens only through sadhana. Okay, so if you, for example, if you pick doing only Surya Namaskars every day with no mantras, okay, for every posture that you do, there are also mantras with it. So if you are not aware of the mantras but you're still doing, the minute you stop doing the Surya Namaskar, you will see that all the negative traits start coming back and you find yourself back to square one. If you really want to pack in and increase the vibration of the planet sun, then it will come through some serious and hardcore sadhana, particularly pertaining to Surya Dev and not the rest of the planets, right? So how soon will you start seeing the effect? So ideally, try to do it at least for 21 days, whatever you are trying to do, a 21-day cycle. Or I always recommend my clients to do remedies at least for 3 months without questions. Don't ask, and just do it first for 3 to 4 months for you to start seeing the improvement and start seeing the change. And mind you, if you're not able to keep this consistency also, that means you have a really terrible sun. Okay, and this happens to people who have a very strong moon, because the moon is more flexible, more fluid, more creative. Okay, the sun brings in a lot of structure and to some extent rigidity also, and form. So you will notice that if you have a weak sun, probably you have a stronger moon. It's not always mandatory, but yes, sometimes people with a weak sun have a very strong moon. Okay, so if you are a night person, if you are a night owl, if you are not able to follow through with your Surya Namaskars or your sadhana, or offering water to the sun every day and it keeps breaking, keep a note of when it is breaking, after every 3rd day, or after 2 weeks, or after 1 month. So depending on that, you assess how weak or how strong your sun is. Okay, that's it I have for you today. I'll be doing more of these series on planets, and I'll probably create a playlist, because it's not going to be in a complete order. Whenever I get the inspiration and intuition to do it is when I will do the planet. So if you're interested in this kind of content, please stay tuned to this channel, and until next time, take care. Namaste. Om Hrim Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.